Hey guys, Noel here, and we are live for our 30th live stream. We are going to do a bit of a take two because I was not sure if comments were working in our first go. We streamed for about 18 minutes chatting about Highlander, the Raven, and WWF in your house, the new generation versus the Attitude Era. These are the topics that you can expect to find on the Noel ComiX live stream. You can also find the piercing audio of the Sega Saturn version of WWF in your house. So come early and come often to the Noel ComiX live stream for all the magic and wonder. Now, we also have our signature cup of live stream coffee here, which is abnormally strong tonight. So, this will keep us rocking and rolling into the year 2021. So, yes, there's that. So I see we got one viewer. Please comment if you are watching, so I can make sure that comments are working. If not, we'll just do the monologue thing. Anyway, I want to, talk a little bit about Highlander the Raven here. Good show. I was a big fan of the original Highlander series with Adrian Paul, Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod, but I got disaffected and annoyed when they killed my favorite character, Richie, off, which I thought made no sense plot-wise. They definitely should have killed Mythos off. That would have made much more sense, because he was the oldest immortal, and thus would have had the quickening power to fuel a evil supervillain that would then necessitate Duncan, Richie, and Amanda to team up and destroy the ultimate immortal who had taken the life of their friend Mythos. So you see how much better that story would have been? I need to get a time machine, go back in time, and save the Highlander syndicated television series. But either way, from what I've seen, and this is streaming on Pluto TV, and it's both live and on demand. Highlander the Raven, very cool. The spin-off with Amanda, who's looking all, sexy and sharp with her late 90s banged blonde hair. And the evil dad from One Tree Hill, who is now a cool cop in the late 90s. So, speaking of the late 90s, we are going to be playing some WWF in your house with the WWF New Generation. And there's that. So, I rebooted the phone. I deleted, trash and all that other kind of stuff. So I'm hoping our comments work. Again, normally when comments don't work, I don't see the Prism Live studio in the corner. So, I don't know. We'll just see what happens here. And, we'll see what we can do here. I'm playing with my phone here. I can see that I can type on the air and all that kind of stuff. I'm just seeing if anything is wonky or off. It looks like I got front-facing camera, full screen microphone on, Camera Pro, save video after streaming, so that looks good. So it looks like we're good. Hopefully everything's good on your end. If we can only do monologue style, then I will look at the comments after the video uploads to YouTube and respond in a concise and entertaining manner, which is what I strive to do on the Noel ComiX YouTube channel. Anyway, let's get down to some WWF New Generation. Now, I was a big WCW fan, still am. I was always Team WCW, Team NWO. I thought that really was the high point of professional wrestling. I was always a big WCW fan, really starting from 1994. I would watch WCW Saturday Night, WCW Main Event on Sundays, and then the syndicated WCW Worldwide, usually after I watched the syndicated Highlander on Saturday nights. So it was good stuff. WWF, I always thought, the New Generation was entertaining and cool, and the Attitude Era was a synthesis of Jerry Springer and NWO tropes, but I thought the real quality laid in WCW with the NWO storyline and that that quality of writing and character development, and then also just the variety that WCW had on their show with the combination of, you know, good cruiserweight matches and then dream matches of the best that WCW, WWF, the NWO had to offer. WCW really was where the big boys played. But that didn't mean that WWF New Generation wasn't cool as hell. And you can definitely see how cool it is in this game for the Sega Saturn, WWF in your house. So, we're going to get down to it. Now, this game boasts...
You better get ready, because the British Bulldog is going to power slam his way through the WWF.
The British Bulldog is going to take a bite out of the competition, and a bite out of you. Anyway, this game, if you're the mystery viewer watching when we were streaming earlier, boasts nice Redbook audio. Pop this in a CD player, and as opposed to the PlayStation version, we have full theme music for each wrestler, and we also have the promos for the characters are more well-defined. So PlayStation lacked in audio, lacked in load time, but it made up for that in terms of, nice crisp FMVs and sprites. Saturn version, a little bit more pixelated FMVs and sprites, but everything else much better. So I gotta go with the Saturn version. I'm also going to go with my favorite wrestler out of this group here. This is a nice sampling of the New Generation. At this point, Hall and Nash had left for WCW. WWF was in a bad way at this point. I mean, they could have gone out of business. I actually think they deserve to, but, whatever. It is what it is. Because WWF ruthlessly drove the territories out of business, so I have no sympathy for Vince McMahon when Eric Bischoff was pretty much doing to him what Vince did to the AWA. But anyway, we're gonna be Bret Hart. As said before, I think if Eric Bischoff was able to maintain a better authoritative persona backstage, kind of like a teacher has to keep control of the classroom. I think he lost control of the classroom, per se. Got too fixated on the ratings war. Got too fixated on politics in the boardroom at Turner. And I think that caused the creative to stall. And the creative of the WWF is ultimately what overtook the WCW. Because the creative in WCW, while in my opinion preferable to the creative in the WWF overall, just stopped developing the stories, and then people just were like, well, what's going on in WWF? Because this story's not changing. So. And WWF was offering a good product. And the Ultimate Warrior there just was giving a brutal slam right there. So basically, this is the sequel to WrestleMania, the arcade game. And as opposed to WrestleMania, the arcade game, we have levels that are unique to each wrestler. We have a wider variety of music. We have full motion video. And we have me getting my ass kicked right here. So as much as I like Bret Hart, I'm actually better with Shawn Michaels. So we're going to actually be Shawn Michaels here. But the cool thing is when you lose, you get the full audio of the person who just downed you. So, since the Ultimate Warrior beat me, we're listening to the Ultimate Warrior. So there we go. Now, Shawn Michaels at this point really wanted to go to WCW, and the thing that I think kept Vince's head above water during this period is that he was always able to hang on to Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin. And then once he lost, if he had to lose one of those three, the one to lose would be Bret Hart, because the WCW had Sting, and Sting structurally was very similar to Bret Hart as a character. I mean, Bret Hart could play a heel, and Sting really couldn't. Sting could play a tweener, a mystery man, or a hero. Sting's just too damn likable. That's his problem. Like, Sting's problem is he's too likable. It's hard to boo him. So, you know, Sting has tried heel runs in TNA and WCW, and it's always been difficult. Man, the B button on this is not really working here. I know B is supposed to punch, but it's not really doing it here. What if something's wrong with my controller? Anyway, I'm playing this on like the highest setting too, which is kind of stupid. I always try to do like lower settings for the live streams, but I figured that since I have no blocking on here, you know, I can just kind of spam, you know, like really powerful attacks here, and that usually works. This game is very fun to play, but it's not really much in terms of like well-rounded control schemes and things like that. It's pretty much punch and kick, and that's what it is. You know, there are so-called finish moves in keeping with the Mortal Kombat style, and those are very hard to pull off. I'm not good at doing those. Usually what I do is I pick a wrestler, find their best move, and turn blocking off, and then just spam the hell out of that move with timing. And, man, this is going to be close. Get him, get him, get him! No, 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 no! Damn it! I thought he was going to say, this is going to be the greatest performance of my life. Goldust, incidentally, is in AEW right now. And he has essentially a synthesis of his Goldust and the natural Dustin Rhodes character. And he wears red and black. He's in the best shape of his career. Like, if you look at Goldust in this game, he's pretty fat. And if you listen to shoot interviews with Marlena, she'll tell you that he was doing a lot of drugs at this point. And Goldust, since getting into DDP yoga and getting clean, is in really the best shape of his career, and he's got to be in his 50s, but he's doing Canadian destroyers, and I mean, I think that they need to really book him more aggressively as a heel, because what they're doing is they've kind of booked him as a babyface that has kind of faded into the background, and I think the big problem with AEW is that the elite is afraid to book themselves in prominent positions. I know Cody made that championship for himself, the TV title, or in this case, the TNT title, but, you know, Kenny Omega is like a tag team champ. Like, Kenny Omega should be the heavyweight champion of that company. You know, the Young Bucks should be in the title picture for the tag team stuff, and it's like they've kind of, you know, got themselves in the upper mid card because the elite are people who grew up listening to Dave Meltzer and taking him seriously, and I think that's to their detriment because, you know, Dave Meltzer is always like, don't do what Hulk Hogan does, don't do what Hulk Hogan does, and it's like, and what Hulk Hogan did backstage was promote himself and his friends. Now, I'm not saying that they should do that if it doesn't make sense, but if it makes sense, and there's a need just to kind of mix things up story-wise or whatever, like, you don't want it to be obvious where it's just like, oh, obviously this person has power in the company, so they're just putting themselves in a position of prominence creatively. But if you were legitimately more popular than a lot of other people and have a lot of skill to, you know, draw an audience and ratings, then, you know, freaking do it. I mean, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were, you know, huge in Japan. And they're still very popular, and I think they're doing a good job in AEW, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that, you know, I think Jon Moxley is cool and all, but he's, in my opinion, getting a bit stale, and Kenny Omega is definitely the person I would put the AEW strap on. Definitely do some stuff with Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. I mean, that's, I think, the money match right there. I mean, unless they're saving it for, like, a build-up to something, but I don't know. I think the big mistake WCW made too is they didn't always strike when the iron was hot. It's like they got Bret Hart and they didn't utilize him properly, and they killed all his momentum. Like Bret Hart should have been paired with Hogan and Sting right off the bat. And I mean, I actually think it might have been interesting to actually put Hogan and Bret Hart in a tag team. If they weren't going to put either one of them in the title picture, they could have built a matchup with Hogan and Bret Hart as a tag team. It's always the thing with WCW. It's like you always Monday morning quarterback the Bret Hart thing. Because that is the thing, I think, that if they had done properly, they'd still be in business. I mean, Thunder, I think, and Time Warner AOL merger, I think, really screwed things up. And I like Thunder. I'm just saying that I think creatively Thunder burned a lot of people out. And then AOL Time Warner, once they were able to wrestle power away from Ted Turner, they had no interest in having wrestling on Turner Television because, Ted Turner liked wrestling. And the thing I like about Ted Turner is that, he effectively turned TNT and TBS into his own personal YouTube channel. It's true. It's like he had his news with CNN. He had his TV with Gilligan's Island. He he had wrestling. He had his politics with Captain Planet. Like, like the whole. And, he had like his guy movies. Like Bloodsport was on all the time, and A Christmas Story, and Atlanta Braves baseball. And so it's like the TV channels that Turner owned reflected Ted Turner. And then once he was out, they just became very much like any other cable channel. We're gonna try Gold Dust. The Bizarre Gold Dust. I'm actually kind of tempted to put this on an easier setting here. Poor Owen Hart. I mean, there's so many deaths in wrestling where the wrestler is, abused steroids and their heart burns out. They've abused steroids and painkillers, and, like everyone says, like, oh, they didn't die of a drug overdose, they died of cardiac arrest. They died of cardiac arrest because they were doing drugs for a long time, taking painkillers, and had, stressed out their heart so much with their lifestyle, which could, even if you're doing steroids, like, if that makes you, like, big enough or whatever, that it's like you're putting on so much weight that, your body's having a hard time dealing with it, that's not helping either, so. Gold Dust, they're doing well with him. So before Mr. Perfect joined the NWO, which was cool as hell, he was an announcer. He's actually supposed to join the Four Horsemen, but creatively they decided to have him do NWO instead. And I think that worked out really well. I just don't know why Perfect was not in the NWO Elite. Because that, get up, get up. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why they kicked Mr. Perfect out of the NWO. Like, I love Disco Inferno. Do not get me wrong. Disco Inferno, if I was ever a pro wrestler, I would model myself after the style of wrestler Disco Inferno was. Just that really engaging, funny... Like, Santino Marella and Disco Inferno are really, like, the wrestlers that speak to me the most stylistically. In terms of, like, I identify with that kind of humor and style. But Hulk Hogan is the greatest of all time. He's my hero when it comes to pro wrestling. Best hero, best villain. Cool in Japan. Just he's the freaking GOAT, man. And incidentally, there was like a knockoff Hulk Hogan that wore goat boots that I saw in an episode of Worldwide. If you can tell me who that was, please do. Because I remember like watching Worldwide with my friend, and it's like there's a Hulk Hogan knockoff wearing goat boots. Hey, Arrow! Okay, good. The stream is working. The comments are working, man. Cool. For a long time, I just saw that one person was watching and no one was commenting. And so I thought that there might be something wrong with the comments. So I actually restarted the stream. And, you're hearing commenting. So that's good, man. we are playing WWF In Your House. We are Goldust, who is in the best shape of his career right now in AEW. So go watch him. Ooh, we're kicking it with the Click here. The remaining Click members. I only recently just joined. Okay, cool. Cool. Well, that's weird because... Okay, so I'd been streaming. It said one person was watching. It's saying that there's one person now and you're here. So I don't know what's going on with that ticker on top, if... if it's always even accurate in terms of the number count. Because, I didn't know if someone, if you or Diego were watching and commenting and it wasn't showing up, or maybe I just had some random person dropping in and not commenting, but at a certain point I said, hey, if you're watching, leave a comment, and then no one left a comment, so I was just kind of like, all right, whatever, so the thing is, DX basically was WWF on life support trying to imitate the NWO. So they're like, okay, who do we have left in the Click? Because the NWO is the Click. It's Hulk Hogan leading the Click. You have the monster greatest of all time with the hottest, youngest, hippest, badass wrestlers. And they're both doing everything that they do at max capacity. And so WWF was like, well, okay, what can we do to try to make our version of that? So they took the dregs of the Click that were left, and put them in a NWO knockoff group and had them, kind of use their personalities and make it unique. And the thing about Vince McMahon is that, he always could tweak things. People always say, oh, he's a genius. And it's like, I don't know if I don't know. Maybe he's a genius, but he's a genius in the sense that he sees little details that other people don't see all the time. But those details usually come from other people's ideas that he tweaks. And that's actually what Bischoff did. And that's, I think, why Bischoff was so successful, I think. I know nothing about wrestling, but hearing your enthusiasm about it is amusing to me. Oh, I am huge into pro wrestling. I have not watched WWF in months because I just don't like the product. I think it's boring, and I think their wrestlers are unrelatable. But I religiously watch AEW, and in the golden days of pro wrestling, the 80s and 90s, and in the 90s I always look back to the 80s with the most enthusiasm, but having gone through both of them, as obviously a very little kid in the 80s, and then growing up in the 90s and looking back at the 80s and loving it, seeing Hulk Hogan and all that awesome stuff. But, the 90s wrestling, though that was the 80s guys still in their prime, and the storytelling had just gotten much more diverse. It's kind of like comic books where, the storytelling had aged with the audience. And you started to see character development and ironies and situations. It was really, really good stuff.
It looks like it's all over.
And the thing I liked about WCW the most is that, they started out when Hogan came in with the Dungeon of Doom and all this crazy cartoony stuff that people just crap on because they think they're supposed to. I loved that stuff. Like Vader teleporting around, Hulk Hogan being a superhero, Sting being this, cool, surfer dude with, face paint on and, spiked blonde hair. WWF had given up on doing 80s style over-the-top wrestling and trying to have one foot and being a little bit more real, but still being, youth-oriented and cartoony. But WCW was just, full-on, we're gonna just go comic book insane, with crazy vignettes and over-the-top characters. And, that was one of the ways they were different than WWF at the time. And I think they did that extremely well, because as someone who liked that style of wrestling, as someone who liked Hulk Hogan, as someone who liked Macho Man and all the 80s wrestlers, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels are cool as hell, man, but they're not, to me, as good as Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. And if WCW's got Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, and they're doing stories centered around them, I'm preferring WCW. But the thing is WCW and WWF had two kind of alternative products. Like, they had two different styles. WWF had the new generation, WCW had the established guy, and then ECW was like the underground radio grunge style wrestling where, they just, acted like they were rebellious, and they were like Alanis Morissette, right? Like, the system wronged me, and now I'm gonna whine about it, So, but it was done extremely well and interesting. Did I win? No, I lost. Welcome, Allie. I barely lost. Barely. Allie, we were playing WWF in your house for the Sega Saturn. And we are Goldust, who is like he is the spirit of Hollywood decadence. And he's got a really good fast, fierce kick, which I'm using to dominate multiple wrestlers at a time here. Get up, come on, man. Pin him. Ha ha ha. There we go. So it's the truth. So anyway, what was I talking about? WCW versus WWF. Okay. So anyway, WCW had this really cartoony, over-the-top, awesome wrestling that I loved. It's some of my favorite wrestling of all time. And then WWF had like the new generation with Big Daddy Cool Diesel and, Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor and all that stuff. So it's like, so WCW had like the crazy Hulk Hogan superhero storylines, and then really good quality wrestling with guys like Brian Pillman and the Four Horsemen, and then you had like these crazy awesome matches like Hulk Hogan versus Vader. I mean, if you want to watch a good encapsulation of prime early 90s WCW, watch Baywatch, Bash at the Beach episode, where the WCW guys are in that episode, and you'll see what I like about WCW at that time period. But when Hall and Nash showed up on Nitro, it really felt like an invasion because the WWF was different. The tension between WCW and WWF were real, and everyone wanted to see those two companies go at it, like in the ring, because, Vince McMahon was taking shots at WCW, and Eric Bischoff was saying, like, Vince McMahon is the Greg Gagne of the 90s, and I'm the Vince McMahon of the 90s, because Vince McMahon drove Greg Gagne out of business by basically taking his talent and enhancing it, So there was some real tension there. And it was the point where it's, everyone, like they knew wrestling was fake, but at the same time, you always suspended disbelief. And sometimes you weren't sure if it was fake all the time. And once WWF's really iconic new generation guys showed up, and then the ultimate WWF guy, Hulk Hogan, decided to, join the WWF in destroying WCW. The thing about the NWO is like, the NWO was like more WWF than the WWF. It was like they took what was cool about the WWF and magnified it. And the idea of having the coolest new generation guys and the coolest WWF guy of all time, Hulk Hogan, team up with terroristic, nightmarish power that nobody could defeat was just fantastic. And then again, the whole like Sting being Hulk Hogan's sidekick, that was the only one that could beat him. I mean, it was just such cool, exciting writing. Yeah, I love Vince McMahon's commentary on this game. And then you get like doubles of characters. The Bizarre Goldust and the Bizarre Goldust and the man they call Vader versus the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And if you pop this into a CD player, you can literally hear that. Just Vince McMahon going off incoherently. So, good stuff. Now, guys, you may not know this. I said it early on before you came. This game is a sequel to the arcade game WWF WrestleMania. And WWF WrestleMania was just in a wrestling ring. But this game, it kind of takes some cues from Mortal Kombat in having specialized levels, digitized graphical fighting, and finish moves, which I don't know how to do. So we've got these two Goldust awkwardly fighting each other. Anyway, Goldust man, he's just like, it's crazy to see Goldust now on AEW in better shape than he was in 1996. Because like this Goldust is pretty chubby.
I'm ready for my close-up.
I mean, he's not like morbidly obese. I mean, he's a thick dude, right? I mean, this is like, I'd say that version of Goldust is thick with like 2.5 C's, you know? Whereas Goldust now is just like an in-shape guy who's in his mid-50s. I'm telling you, seeing him do that Canadian Destroyer is ridiculous. He is a chunky monkey. He is a blubberous buddy. This is all very true stuff. So, Allie, he is super thick. He's a brick hit house, is what he is. Well, I mean, you guys should know this. That I mean, I don't know how into wrestling you two are, but not at all. Goldust's dad was a fat man. He was the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, and he was fantastic. The American Dream Dusty Rhodes, crazy charismatic, good creative mind. So yeah, he's great. Sadly, Dusty passed away. He was an announcer for WCW when I was growing up. So yeah. Now, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, he ended up marrying Vince McMahon's daughter and is now in a huge position of power in WWF. He's basically the heir to the throne. Peace. Anyway, what was I saying? Goldust, Triple H. Triple H, I don't think he's ever really, and at least in my opinion, gotten above that upper mid-card persona. I mean, he's been booked. He's been booked to be the champ, like, forever. And he's someone who's paid his dues and worked his ass off and lives for the business, which I don't know if that's a super healthy thing to do. But, I mean, I think he's earned his spot, quote unquote. But I think he still is Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I like Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but he's never, in my mind, surpassed Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart or Diesel or any of those guys. That's Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and they put him in the main event. And they put the belt on him. And I think he is more credible as a main event contender than a main event champion. Because I think his championship runs a lot of the time felt a bit forced. But I mean, he's cool, There's no way in hell he should have beaten Sting at that one WrestleMania. That made no freaking sense. That went from being one of my favorite WrestleMania matches to by far my least favorite WrestleMania match, next to Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker, which was the biggest bullshit ever. And speaking of beating The Undertaker, we just did that.
I'm ready for my close-up.
So Goldust's whole thing is that you didn't know if he was gay or not, and that because he would pretend to seduce male wrestlers. But then Marlena came out, who was like this crazy attractive lady who was his valet, and they were clearly a couple. And then it was just like it was like part of Goldust's quote unquote mind games and embodiment of the decadent, kind of almost villainous, perverse and powerful nature of Hollywood was encapsulated in who Goldust was. The only wrestlers I like are John Cena and Don Johnson. Are you talking about like The Rock? Dwayne Johnson. Don Johnson is from Miami Vice. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. The Rock is... He is a way up there. I mean, he dominated the late 90s. And I mean, I remember watching The Rock when he was just coming up in the Nation of Domination. And he was my favorite Attitude Era wrestler. And then he broke through and just ended up being the biggest star in the company. Never as good as Hulk Hogan, in my opinion. If you like The Rock, I highly recommend watching Hulk Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Because, you'll get to see him get booed out of the building despite being a good guy. Because he's not as popular as Hulk Hogan. I don't know why I said if you like The Rock, you should watch that. I'm going to say that that's my favorite Rock match because I like Hulk Hogan. But it's a very iconic match for The Rock because he hangs in there and makes the best out of a bad situation. You know, going into a match as the good guy and then getting booed. You know, it's some good stuff. It's some good stuff to watch. And we just lost there. From Nick and Jumanji. Yeah, cool. So John Cena was on Nickelodeon. The Rock was in like the new Jumanji. Okay, so this final thing that we're doing right here is the Royal Rumble for the WWF title. We basically have to go through every wrestler in the game. I'm going to get a sip of coffee as Vince McMahon rambles through wrestlers here. Oh my god, this coffee that I made is disgusting. You know what? My wife, put vinegar in the coffee pot, and I thought it was cleaned out, but I don't think it is. I didn't put that much coffee in this thing. And at first, when I took a couple sips, I was just like, this coffee isn't very good. I probably put too much in it. But then I was like, I rinsed out the pot. I thought I took care of it, but it's like I'm drinking it, and it's like, I don't think this is bitter coffee. I think this is vinegar that I'm tasting. And I mean, and if you want to have salt and vinegar chips and a cup of coffee separately, that's fine. But putting vinegar in your coffee is not a pleasant experience. This is right up there with my asparagus and banana smoothie, coupled with tomato juice. It's not good. We're doing pretty well. We just gotta stay in our pattern here. Come on! Move. Freaking Owen. Come on. It's getting a little scary here. We'll just keep our cool. Oh, man. I am stepping it up. We did it. We beat the game. That is exactly what happened, Allie. Here's our ending. Yeah, Goldust and Marlena. Goldust and Savio Vega. Congratulations, you have defeated all to claim your right as the new champion of the WWF. But can you hold the belt? Only time will tell. Alright, yes, we did it. We beat the game. All is right with the world. Okay, yeah, that coffee is... something's wrong with it. I'm gonna do something stupid here and... It doesn't... I can't tell if I just made a really bad cup of coffee or there's vinegar in this. It's something, man. I don't think I put that many scoops in this, but anyway. I mean, maybe I did put too many scoops in this coffee because, I mean, I'm taking a sip of this and I can see through time. Hey, it's Genghis Khan. All right. Yeah, it's poisoned. Maybe. I mean, I don't have much in the way of life insurance. I do have a lot of video games from the 90s and 80s. And once again, our buddy Retro Zoltan, go visit him at retrozoltan.com, and he will pimp out your mini consoles. Oh, God. All right. Hang in there, man. This is like, I don't know. I don't know if this is as bad as like English department faculty coffee. Okay, so when I subbed as a teacher, the English department upstairs had coffee, and like, you know, if you got it early, it was fine. But often it would just be there like forever. And then you'd go in and try to grab a cup of coffee, and it's like you were drinking asphalt. And this is like that style. This is like a fine craft beer. Which, if you know me, you know I don't like craft beer. So, anyway. Okay. So we have Highlander the Raven off on the Trinitron here. Looking very nice, playing in 480i component video. So now that we've beaten WWF In Your House as the bizarre Gold Dust, we're going to play something else here.
Time has come for the Undertaker to rise once more.
Undertaker, he's a guy that I always hated growing up because he was so good at playing his character that I just and he was like the guy that beat Hulk Hogan. So as a Hulk Hogan fan, my dream was always to team up with Hulk Hogan against the Undertaker and Steve Austin and beat them, and then I would like win the heavyweight belt and present it to Hulk Hogan, because I'm not as good as Hulk Hogan, and I never will be. Anyway, let's play some Street Fighter Real Battle on Film right here. So this is a quality game here. Ta-da! Alright, so this game features one of my all-time favorite actors, the one and only, actually he is my favorite actor, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme right here. So now I am, how much is it worth? How much is what worth? What are you talking about? The game? My video games? Jean-Claude Van Damme? He's priceless. The Hulk Hogan Thunder Mixer? That is also priceless. So, you know, I don't know. Ask me more specifically and I'll give you an answer. The game. What game? Street Fighter Real Battle on Film or In Your House? I have to look at how much WWF In Your House goes for. My friend Nick was on the stream, and it was like, he was like talking about like a $200 game, and it's like, I have that, you know, not that I want to broadcast to the world. It's like, oh, I have some valuable stuff here, because nothing in this room is worth anything. Please move on. Street Fighter, I'd say that game goes for probably about, if you look for it on eBay, 20 to 40. You know, depending on like what kind of, I mean, I could be off on that, but when I looked for Street Fighter Real Battle on Film, which is the Japanese version of this game, was going for about 20 to 40, and I would only assume that the American version would, you know, go for around that, maybe a little lower. This is a game that a lot of people did not like because of word of mouth, but if you actually sit down and play the game, it's really good. So it's one of those things where it's like people heard that it was bad, and I think convinced themselves that it was bad. But this game really combines Mortal Kombat's digitized graphics, which is the kind of graphics you just saw within your house, and the gameplay of Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which is really the kind of quintessential Street Fighter game. I'm actually going to go and get a fistful of M&Ms to try to block out. I don't know, man. What? Like, this is the coffee I made right here. I can't. I think there's residual vinegar in that pot, and that's why that coffee tastes so bad. But whatever. Let me grab this fistful of M&Ms to help soothe the pain. Again, these are Santino's Potty M&Ms, so I have to replace what I eat out of this. I don't want to eat too many of them too. Because we don't want to be like 1996 Gold Dust, you know. We don't want to get like that 3C level of thickness. We want to be like, you know, like 1.5 C's of thick, you know. Close the cupboard, you're right. Damn it, Allie, what the? You're like way too perceptive for it. Alright, good deal. Alright, let's get moving and grooving here. We'll play some Street Fighter. Vinegar coffee. You sell that, hipster, you'll make millions. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I was saying it tastes like a craft beer. And I hate craft beer because I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so this is the just chatting portion of the Noel ComiX live stream. Okay, so when I was young, I ate a plant in my backyard that I thought was a dandelion weed, which is edible. It's called cicordica in Italy. But it wasn't. It was just some plant that kind of looked like that. So my mom had to make me throw up. So she gave me a dish full of dial soap. No, it wasn't dial soap. It was Joy lemon soap. And she's like, here, Noel, eat this. It'll taste good. And I was like, well, Mom's never done me wrong before. And it's like, I don't feel so good. So, you know, growing up, I always had a very negative experience with soapy tasting things. And so when I have a craft beer and I can taste suds, like when I first had craft beer, I was like, they must not have rinsed the glass very well. But it's like, oh no, this is a hoppy beer. It's very good. You know, it's like, dude, I don't want to drink soap, you know, and I'm drinking this vinegar coffee. Could have drank Ipecac, yes. Well, we didn't have any Ipecac, so I'm actually, Ipecac sounds disgusting. I think I'm probably better off just, you know, taking a swig of soap. But anyway, that's right. Okay, anyway, now what's the thing about Street Fighter Real Battle on film, or Street Fighter the movie? This has one of the best ending credits in any video game. But when I did my review for this game like 2.5 years ago, which you can find on the Noel ComiX YouTube channel, they actually blocked it, and I had to actually redo it, cutting out the ending credits because Chage and Asuka were like, their record label was like being jerks, or you know, it's dumb. But anyway, there's a really good ending credit song called "There's Something There," and Chage and Asuka are a J-pop group, and they sing it, so that's cool stuff. Alright, Street Fighter. Starring Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile, and Kylie Minogue as Cammy. They are peanut butter M&Ms. They're really good. It's like eating a Reese's, but it's an M&M. So that's basically a Reese's Pieces, but bigger. Plus the M&M looks like Conan O'Brien on this bag of M&Ms. So I don't have a, I don't know if I have a computer that can play this or not, but I have this game that came with a box of checks in 1995. So it's like Doom, but with checks. So. Alright, let's play some Street Fighter, which I've been saying we're going to do for the last 5 minutes. The other thing that bothers me about that coffee is that I've wasted like scoops of coffee on this pile of vinegar, which I'm going to end up drinking it anyway. I'm going to will my way through a good chunk of that coffee tonight. Insufficient memory for a new save file. Alright, we can fix that. Okay, so I'm seeing right now that there's 3 people on the stream, but I have a feeling that there's only 2. Which is fine, I don't care. I just want to have some idea of what's going on with my audience. Other than the fact that you have excellent taste in live streams. Now, there is an arcade version of this game that is different. The gameplay style is different. But this plays just like Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Maybe the hit detection's not quite as good. Wait, Allie, why did you die? Close the cupboard? Is that what killed you, my reaction to that? Alright, anyway. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme as Colonel Guile. Okay, let's do some arcade mode here. I'm actually going to turn the volume up a little bit here. Now, if we do Street Battle, it's not going to do the It's Something There. So Movie Battle is kind of like your Guile, and you have to choose different paths to follow. But the Street Battle is just literally like the arcade game. And this is actually the first time I've ever played this game on the video monitor. Yeah, it looks great. We're going to be Cammy, played by Kylie Minogue, one of my favorite 80s celebrities. I want to say she just dropped an album, because I follow her on Instagram. One thing I like about this game, too, is it's got the American actors, but they've got Japanese voices. So, like, the Japanese voice actors, like, get the characters better than the American actors do, but the American actors look cool in the costumes, so...
You win. Perfect.
Nice. We can all see why she's so popular. And it's that beret. That beret is stunning.
Round 2. Fight.
The gameplay here is very, very smooth. Yeah, I don't understand why this game is not well liked. This game was actually well advertised. I remember seeing commercials for this a lot during WCW Saturday Night. Painful, isn't it? Hey, Rogue Drums. How long have you been live? Looks like 53 minutes, but here's the deal. Like the viewer count or the comments weren't like this is what happened at like 10 o'clock on the dot. I started streaming. Then I streamed for about 18 minutes. It said one person was watching, but there were like no comments for like 18 minutes. So I turned it off and turned it back on, and then it said one person was watching, and it wasn't until about, like, I would say a half an hour ago that Arrow popped in and started, he just joined the stream. So, I mean, I don't know if someone was watching and just not saying anything, or if, like, there's something off with our, like our viewer detector. Maybe someone's, like, viewing in and, like, tunes in and tunes out, and then maybe someone tunes in and tunes out and the ticker doesn't change or something, like, I don't know, but, so, this is technically our take 2, yeah, so we beat WWF In Your House for the Sega Saturn. It was a very emotional experience, and now we're playing Street Fighter the movie, or as it's known in Japan, Street Fighter Real Battle on Film, on the Sega Saturn. And this game looks great on the JVC video monitor. It plays incredibly smooth. It really gives you, in my opinion, the best of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, because Street Fighter had much better gameplay than Mortal Kombat. I don't think that's even debatable. But the digitized graphics were definitely exciting. And this is Street Fighter with digitized graphics, and not any digitized graphics. It's the characters from the Hollywood movie. Now the character designs for the Hollywood movie may be a bit less impressive than the Mortal Kombat designs for things like Mortal Kombat 3, but I prefer this game to Mortal Kombat, and I like Mortal Kombat, the digitized one, so there's that. Now, the other thing that Mortal Kombat has over this game in terms of its digitized graphics is there's more detail on them. Like this, I think this game looks really, really, really good. But if you compare this to like a game like Mortal Kombat 3 or Mortal Kombat Trilogy, the graphics are definitely sharper on those. Yeah, it is weird. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for, hopping in the chat. Loyal viewer. Good friend. The Rogue Drums. Now, the interesting thing that they also did here, too, in addition to giving the actors the Japanese voices, which really, I think, helps the movie relate better to the content that it came from. Because, like, as nice as the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie was, like, you really had to take it, as an alternate dimension. It had nothing really to do much with the video games. They took the characters and plugged them into a story that rationalized Western intervention in third world dictatorships, but it was not a bad movie. As a fan of the game early on, I didn't like it because it was like, this has nothing to do with the game. But then once I played this game and I saw the actors with the Japanese voices, and I started to listen to some of the soundtrack, like Deion Sanders and MC Hammer and Shage and Asuka, I really started to like it much more. And Jean-Claude Van Damme has always been my favorite actor because of Bloodsport, which is the greatest movie ever made. So now I just take a look at this, and rather than getting upset, I just say this is a really fun alternate dimension Street Fighter, and the game is great. Went to Albany with a girlfriend today to sell some Berkeley, Boston students a vintage old keyboard. Her dad buys and trades and restores keyboards. That's one of the things he does. Dude, I freaking love keyboard music. And whenever Santino gets a little keyboard or something, I always like to play with it. Because I always kind of dream of being an 80s composer. So, that's awesome. Ooh, it's Vega. This guy is Vega. I thought was very well cast. So, have any of you ever actually cleaned a coffee pot before? Do you have to, run an extra layer of water through it after someone runs vinegar through it? I'm just trying to figure out why this coffee tastes so terrible. Did I screw something up? Am I literally just drinking, the vinegar coupled with the coffee? Music in this game is also really good. The Japanese commercial for this game is also really, really good. I actually like the American commercial. Everything about this game is great. It's actually a launch title on PlayStation. So, yeah, I just have no idea why this game is not liked by more people.
You win. Round 2. Fight.
Hold on. Okay, so we're talking about, so her and I have made college plans. Talk to people that go to Berkeley, planning on going to OCC for 2 years. for music industry, transferring then to Berkeley. Cool, man. That's awesome. A professor of mine at Cortland State, I want to say she works at Berkeley now. Or she did. But, yeah, so that's cool. Her name was Rachel Reinhardt. And we're still friends on Facebook. She was my advisor my, undergrad senior year. She was cool. There we go. You know, SUNY Binghamton prides itself on being the Berkeley of the East, meaning it's a hotbed of unhinged loons. So, there's that. Or at least that's what it prides itself on being. I actually think Binghamton's a nice school. It's got some kind of crazy personalities peppered in there. If you want to consider the term pepper being like someone took a giant thing of pepper and drowned a pizza in it. But it's definitely a place where you can, yeah, Berkeley's amazing. And I know, Rachel Reinhardt? Cool. It's Ken, my favorite guy. Boston's cool. I love Boston. If I could live in any big city, it would be Boston. I'd like to go back on vacation there. I mean, it's a very expensive city to live in, but the times I was there, I liked it so much. The first time I went there, I loved it so much I had to go back. And the second time I went back, it was like more summer tourist time, and I still really, 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 really liked it a lot. But it did lack some of the charm when I went in February, and it was just more like it was less touristy. I mean, also there was a massive blizzard there, and I got to meet Noam Chomsky and go to Cheers. So she was my 7th grade history teacher. Rachel Reinhardt was your 7th grade history teacher? Oh, no, you're talking about Kat Reinhardt. Yeah, no, that's a different Reinhardt. Yeah, different Reinhardt. Yeah, she became Kat Chambers. And, now she teaches reading somewhere. I don't know. I'm in her old room, which has no windows, which is thrilling for the corona situation. Makes sense now, yes. Yeah, but actually, fun story about Kat Reinhardt is we actually went to Cortland State together. So a lot of the teachers at Cortland, the high school, I was at Cortland State with at different times. Yeah. Yep. It's actually a really nice room because it's next to a photocopier. Like, right next to a photocopier. But, the not having windows and then potentially going back in a pandemic is not thrilling. But I don't know. As long as everyone does what they're supposed to do. And, of course, 7th graders always do what they're supposed to do. But I mean, it's, in all seriousness, as long as everyone follows protocols, I'm sure it's fine. And if I really, really wanted to move rooms, I, might be able to, but I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll just all be careful. Let's keep both doors open and we'll be fine. E Honda. With some Hawaiian flavor. He's in chip damage range. This coffee is like a train wreck. Like, I keep coming back to it even though it's terrible. Like, I cannot turn away. E Honda with the nice counter there. So it's a high probability. After I graduate, though, I'm coming over a couple times before I go to college. Yeah, sure thing, man. Sounds like a plan. Well, I mean, like you were saying, like if you want to go, I mean, I actually highly recommend going to a community college before going to a big school, especially in this current situation. You know, because who knows when we're going to get a vaccine? I mean, I know they're working on a vaccine, which is good. But, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, like I went to TC3, and I did my a lot of my general education classes there, and I saved a lot of money. And for those general education classes, I actually think that it's better to have a smaller class size because there's less of a chance for you to get lost in the shuffle if you're not a natural at the lesson content. So in my personal experience, like stuff that I'm really good at, like social studies and history and political science, I really stood out in those classes, you know, like those low level, like 100, 101 level classes. Like I was a rock star in those classes, but when it got to something that I wasn't a natural at, like biology, I did kind of get lost in the shuffle there, and I had a much harder time with my teacher because she just didn't really care because I wasn't a standout, you know, and I mean, to this day, I'm annoyed as hell at her because she lowballed me. She gave me a 0 on a paper because I didn't turn it into turnitin.com with the right password. I did turn it into turnitin.com, but I used the password for my history account rather than my biology account. And she actually hand graded the paper, and it was an 80, but she gave it a 0 because it wasn't turned into turnitin.com properly. And she's like, well, if I have to make an exception for you, I gotta make an exception for everybody. It's like, lady, what the freak? You know, like, you know I got an 80 on this paper and you gave me a 0 on it. It's like she was just being a hard ass to do it. But when you're like one of, you know, like 100 or more kids in a class, you know, and you're not a standout in terms of your intellect on that topic, you know, it's easier to get screwed over like that. Now, if I really... No, I kind of just let it go because I was literally on my way out the door. It was like one of the last classes I was taking. I was taking it to get like a remaining credit. You know, I had, you know, years of good grades at Cortland State, but she really screwed me over. I ended up getting like a D in that class, and it messed up my... I could have graduated a rank higher than I did, but, you know, whatever. Like, she's got her... You know, she's got her satisfaction. She really showed me for, you know, using the wrong password on Turnitin.com. Anyway, that's what I just said. OCC for 2 years, then Berkeley. Yeah. That's what I'm. I mean, I didn't know if you were 100% on doing that. I knew you were referencing that you might do that or wanted to do it, but I was. I should say that I'm encouraging you, especially in this current situation, to seriously consider that. Man, I am so close here. Man, he just dodged my super move. That's gonna do it. Yeah, cool, man. I did TC3 online before I did it in person, and the online work, at least the teachers that I had, there was a lot of busy work. I mean, it was definitely good. It was good content, but it was not paced properly. And then once I actually got to TC3 in person, it was much better. Then I recently had to have the experience of being an online teacher, and it was actually a really positive experience, and the kids seemed to like it, and I think a lot of it's just because I paced the workout better. Like online, if you have a teacher that's not paying attention to pacing, it can be a real pain. But if you have a teacher that's, not doing nothing but not going insane, and they kind of hit that sweet spot in the middle, it can actually be a pretty enjoyable experience for a lot of people if you can adjust to that particular style of learning. So there's Chun-Li and Cammy, two pretty ladies, in a hospital room with gigantic freak rats in the background. In the war-torn country of Shadowloo. So that became a country rather than M. Bison's, drug organization. For you, the day you saw me was the greatest day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday. I think one of the best lines from this movie. I do recommend watching Straight to My Feet, the rap song for this movie, featuring MC Hammer and Deion Sanders. It is a really, really good song. And then watch the music video for There's Something There by Chage and Asuka. Also, excellent stuff. Japanese, J-pop, power ballad sung in English. A lot of 90s synthesizers in there. We're in a cool rave nightclub. And we were just cruising through Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Everyone always went on about, it's a video game. Wait, it's a movie based on a video game. But then, there's a video game of the movie that's based on the video game. So many layers of simulation here. Really, really validates the work of Jean Baudrillard. I mean, Baudrillard his whole thing was the American, the normalization of the American will is the destruction of reality. Nothing is real anymore. There's no such thing as an authentic will that's not contaminated by hyper-reality. A world of endless simulations that is no longer tethered to anything real. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going back to my mansion filled with very real money that I'm going to count for pretending that things aren't real. Miss Cammy is spent a little more time in the tanning bed than I have. I would like to get the Japanese version of this game, just because I like the Japanese commercial for it. And I do like the box that says Street Fighter Real Battle on film. So yeah, anyway, I think I was saying, before my train of thought changed, the next stream we're doing may very well be the Famicom Shonen Jump Edition. That's going to have a lot of really interesting games on it. A lot of them are going to be text heavy, but, we'll just try not to stream that too late. Darn it. We're so close here. Oh man, she countered it. Beaten by myself. That's another philosophical thing. The inner self, the id and the ego. All this philosophizing is making me thirsty for coffee and vinegar. Down the hatch. That's gonna knock years off of purgatory. Alright, anyway. Yes, sir. That was a bad idea. No, this coffee's bad. I mean, I've got a whole pot of this. I don't know what to do with it. I'll just go give it to some, troubled children somewhere. I don't know. Mr. Passery brought drinks. Alright, let's try this again here. Turn on the wheel. One of the things I like about fighting games a lot is just the whole... The timing and the energy and the music and the style. I mean, fighting is just a very, you know... There's a whole art to it. That's what I like about it. The spectacle that is created by a well-timed attack is very exciting. And incidentally, give it to the birds. No, I like the birds too much for that. Children, on the other hand, they need what Judge Mathis would call some tough love. Look, you need to understand how bitter and savory life really is. Drink this vinegar coffee I made. Now, I got through some of that block. That's good. My nose is itching. That means it's either allergies or people are talking about me. Oh, man. Come on, come on, come on. Nice counter there. Oh, what? She had like a slight sliver of more health than me. You know, the reason I'm losing here is vinegar poisoning. That's the real reason. I'm not taking responsibility for this poor showing here. But wait, the vinegar seems to be making me better. I feel stronger. Oh man, no, it's poisoning me again. No, we won. It actually does make me stronger. And I go, excuse me, I'm going to get a fistful of M&Ms to get that taste out of my mouth. Sorry if my dialogue is waning here. I'm just chewing M&Ms. Well, almost at an hour and a half. We've only played 2 games. Usually I'm hopping around so many different games, but I think because we've actually just settled on a couple of games and it's like, well, we're going to beat these 2 games. We've got a couple new videos up on the channel. We have Ichizu Nakoi from TM Network. Got some Japanese commercials for beer, cigarettes, and eyeliner. I'm not encouraging smoking or the abuse of alcohol. I am encouraging you to watch those commercials, though. They're fantastic. How is that not a KO? Well, that is. And what else do we have on the channel? I have a feeling we just did a video game review not that long ago. Oh yeah, we did a product review of the HDMI to 480i converter. And we also just did a little infomercial today on the Retro Zoltan PlayStation Mini. which if you watch the live streams, you are definitely familiar with. He's leaving himself open for a lot of suplexes here. People are like trying to sell video games now by like pretending that women have never been in video games. It's like, women have never been in video games. Now they're in it. This is groundbreaking. You know, like freaking Cammy is tough as all hell. Ah. Now I've heard some feminists like not like the characters like Cammy because even though they're like strong, interesting women, they invite the male gaze. Like men aren't supposed to look at things. You're just supposed to sit there and not appreciate women. You should serve them and their wonderful blue-haired will. This is the opinions of some people. All right, painful, isn't it? Yes, yes, it is. Sorry for the oversaturated light. 4 years in total for music degree and career. Cool. It's DJ. Now, the fact that they didn't cast Billy Blanks as DJ in this movie has always bothered me. Because Billy Blanks is DJ. DJ is Billy Blanks. Instead, they just got this, like, average black dude and had him pretend to talk in a Jamaican accent. The idea of randomly making DJ a bad guy, too, is really stupid. Like, DJ is nothing resembling a bad guy in the video games. He's just some Jamaican fighter who likes music and is a DJ. And his name is DJ. You know what we could play after this game? Something really exciting. Bubbles. It's a game where you're a bubble and you're trying to clean a sink, but razor blades and spiders attack you, and that's Bubbles. It's like Pac-Man if it took place in a sink while you were trying to clean dishes. It's just as fun as it sounds. And it is on the Sega Saturn via the Midway Greatest Hits Collection. Almost got him. Come on. Bro, come on. Oh, good. I just had that. It was in that chip damage range. Went for the jab, and it all worked out. Your strength is impressive, but your skills are not. Alright, there you go. Good deal. Time for another fistful of M&Ms. Oh, it's Sagat. Bob Saget. This is going to be the best full house ever. Sagat is usually vulnerable to sweep kicks. Kami's range is a little short, though. You're in my range. Oh, man. Alright, good. One down, one to go, and then it is M. Bison time.
Round 2, fight.
Getting there. This is a good situation to get the guy, get him in like a rhythm of sweep kicks, and he's so big that he just has a hard time recovering in time. And that's what happens. I'm not gonna drink any more of that coffee. I can't do it. I'm in the habit of like grabbing a hot drink during these streams. But that coffee's not a drink. It's like something to clean your toilet with. Like, I mean, I'm sure that would like blast lime away like nothing else. That coffee. Of course, thanks to my wife for deciding to clean the coffee pot at 8 o'clock at night. It's the final boss. I'm interested if I played the Japanese version of this, if he would be called Vega. I would think so. Now, sadly, Raul Julia, this was the last role he played. Darn it. That said, this is not Raul Julia being M. Bison's character actor here. This guy's way too big. And plus, Raul Julia, I think, was dead by the time this game was made, so... He died, shortly... He died before the release in the movie. Come on. Man! We have to beat this game. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if it takes us all night. We are so close. I mean, I'm sure you guys care if it takes all night. Get in my way and I'll snap your spine. Hate speech! Hate speech! I don't have a clock in the game room. Do any of those out in audience land care to enlighten me as to the time? My guess is it's probably like 11:40. No, that can't be right. Is it after 12? I don't know. Either way, someone tell me. It's a good situation we're in here. Just gonna stand back here and look for openings here. Come on! There we go. One down. 11:55. That's about what I thought. We don't have to go, like, super late or anything like that. I did put in a full day at the gym. I mean, my whole thing, like, I've got this comic book contest looming, which I'm having a lot of fun drawing this comic book. But I do like to try to go to work out every day. And when I say the gym, I don't mean, like, going into a public gym or anything like that. Like, I have, I'm friends with the owner of the gym I go to, so I've been trusted with a key to work out by myself. And it's actually really nice. It's very relaxing. But I don't want to be wasting time that, you know, I can be using to help my dream come true here. Beat the game!
You win.
Whenever you feel like it. Alright. Well, we'll do like one more game and then we'll... Unless like the good times like start exploding, we'll wrap it up after the next game. A perfect complement to Colonel Guile's aggressive style during the crisis in Shadowloo. Cammy returned to her position in the British Secret Service after General Bison's defeat. However, the British government has been known to lend Cammy to the Allied Nation Forces for special assignments. Most recently, she was once again at Colonel Guile's side. I heard these two actually hooked up during the movie. As he planned for a strike in the Middle East. The end. Yeah, so good game. You know, good take on the Street Fighter movie. I mean, I actually think this actually does the Street Fighter movie better than the Street Fighter movie because it actually ties the Street Fighter movie into things that are directly linked to Street Fighter, like Japanese voice actors, Street Fighter 2 style gameplay, you know, just the general packaging of a Street Fighter game, but with those characters in it. You know, it feels much more connected to Street Fighter as opposed to the movie, which is fun, but here are Street Fighter characters in an unrelated story. But at least they put all the characters in there that you wanted to see, even if they kind of had to shoehorn them in a little bit. Yeah, so good stuff. Definitely a game I enjoy on the Sega Saturn. Let's see, what else do we have here? More M&Ms to cleanse my palate. Don't mind if I do. Whoa. Palate cleansing never tasted so good. You're welcome, ants. For the... I dropped on the floor. Okay, this right here, Williams Arcade Greatest Hits. This is a bunch of really good games from the early 80s on the Sega Saturn with interviews of the creators of these games on this disc. So it's good stuff. We're going to pop Street Fighter out. And we'll put Williams Arcade Greatest Hits in and see where it takes us. Swing it around. I always like this Digital Eclipse logo. So, I got this game, I think, for like Christmas of '97. And my mom was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought these were new games." And I was like, "No, no, I don't care. I like these games. I'm very much a man of the '80s. Not that I'm not for, developing, video games further, but, definitely don't ditch any genres behind." Now, the cool thing is if you hit B here, you can actually go to this like history page and then basically listen to interviews.
The most amazing project was the Defender project because we were the #2 pinball company at the time. We were yeah, we're gonna get in the video game business. Yeah, right, Williams. And we got a bunch of people. They were put in a separate facility over on Belden Avenue, and this group, everybody had one goal, and that was in a pretty short time frame to do whatever it took to make a really hot video game. And the way things were accomplished by that group and the atmosphere
Listening to these interviews
was just amazing. I've never seen it equaled. And now I've got a management role, and I would love.
it makes me want to be better at Defender. I'm not good at it.
To try and create a situation like that again, and it's the best situation I've ever seen or been in.
Management came down. This was about 3 months before the show, before we had to finish this game. And management came down and goes, "Man, this game is a pile of trash. I mean, this game is so stupid. I mean, what are these people on here? I mean, where are you going?" It was like, they were saying, "Okay, you got to get rid of these stupid astronauts out of there, and get some game going here, because you are really blowing it." But it's pretty crazy because the night this was insane actually. At the time for our development system we used this thing called a Motorola Exerciser, which was this huge, probably the most bloated, overpriced computer ever created. It was a dual floppy disk system. They used 8-inch floppy disks, which are like enormous, held like 10 bytes on them, and you had this $20,000 box that would only work for like 3 or 4 days at a time before something failed. It was horrendous. So it got to the point late in the project where it was taking like half an hour to just assemble the program, and so and the odds of actually getting an assembly that actually made it were so low that the last week of the project, they essentially just object code patches. We left the computer on. The program was in memory. Thank goodness there was a power failure. And we just made patches in the code and just kind of stuffed them in there for the different bugs. And then it was like 4 a.m. and it was like, okay, we got to burn the ROMs for the show. And we burned them. We took everything was stuck in this computer memory, so we had to pull out the bytes essentially, and then burn them into EEPROMs. And we did, and it was at 6 a.m. Plugged them in, it didn't work. I was like, oh, it was like, what happened? Did we bend the pin? Did we, of these, 12 ROMs, what was screwed up? And I would just burn them again or something, and they were all blank or something. I don't know what it was, but finally we burned them again, and we got the disc thing working. And
beep out the word damn.
The cabinets were sitting on the show floor, awaiting this program. So we got to the show at 7 a.m. and plugged in the chips, and the thing came on, and it was just we were just oh my god, it worked. We were just couldn't believe it. It was we were just so high from not sleeping, and it was just this ultimate high to just this thing actually worked. And then the show is the American the Amusement and Music Operators Association, AMOA, which is the big coin-op quarter-eating game show, and in the United States, and mostly attended by game room operators and arcade chain executives and various other industry hacks. And the thing is, the tragic thing is, none of these people actually play video games. You know, and
Can spot Sindel right there.
Nobody would play it. I mean, they were afraid. They were so afraid of this game that I had to like spend my time trying to lure people into our booth to like play the game, and they'd want to watch me play the game, or you know, sometimes we'd have a couple of kids in there playing the game, but mostly the game was empty because everybody was so afraid of the game. I guess it was all the buttons. You know, we just had so many buttons on there. That, you know, people just go, man, I just can't deal with this. So it's kind of like, well, we go, oh, okay, it's kind of cool, you know, maybe we'll sell 1,000 games or something, or maybe some suckers will buy them. But you know, at the time, it seemed like it was a bomb. But I know we were just so high for finishing the thing that it wasn't disappointing at all. In fact, I know we kind of were proud that it intimidated everyone. You know, it's like we're kind of proud that the game like freaked people out. You know?
I like that clip because it ends on awkward laughter and then a stare.
So yeah, it was kind of, you know, people kind of, I thought it was kind of a bomb, you know. The buzz on the show was like Pac-Man and Nintendo were like bombs. Pac-Man because it just played forever and it wasn't exciting, and Nintendo was like way too complicated to play. And people were thinking this game Rally X, which was a little car racing game, was like the big game of the show. We stuck it out in an arcade, and the first night, I didn't even show up. You know, I mean, you stick this thing out. You've been working on this thing for months. You almost got fired, you know. And then you kind of like cleaned out my desk. You know, it's sort of in like the dark days when I was working on the estimates. I'd actually clean out my desk and I'd throw all my stuff in boxes. I mean, I was that close to like just quitting. And so I just didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to find out what people really wanted. Like, so I didn't show up first night. And the second night, I go out to the arcade, and the place was just, there was like people 10 deep watching Defender. There was people sitting on chairs and couches and like camped out around this game. And at that point, I figured, wow, maybe this is kind of cool.
Yeah, I always love hearing that story.
We stuck it out in an arcade, and first night...
Yeah, I already played that. Okay. Turn to main menu. Let's play some Bubbles. Bubbles, sadly, doesn't have any interviews on it. You have to do something about our memory for a Japanese Sega Saturn. Wow, this game is, like, stunning on this PVM here. This is a very chill and relaxing game to play. So basically, what you got to do, you're a bubble, you're in a sink, you got big ants and sponges, and this little broom thing you have here can actually defend you from attacks. The goal is you got to get your bubble big enough to actually get a face, and then once you get a face on your bubble, you can go down the drain. Now, the more stuff in the sink you clean, the better you are. But you can get popped if you get touched by, you know, one of those razor blades or ants. If you do get a broom, you can defend yourself with it. You just got to aim it right. See, right now I'm in a lot of trouble because I can't win. Well, I could have won if I got that one crumb. I hit the shoulder button to do a 2-player game, so I actually have extra plays here, but we're down a level, so. But like if I angle this right, I didn't do it right, but if I had angled that right, that broom right at that ant, I would have gotten them. See, there, that one got him. I'm just gonna go down the drain here because Bubble's getting big and there's a lot of stuff around him. So he got big enough to get down the drain, and on our way downrange, she took out that ant, so that's pretty good. We're at sync 7. So for those of you youngsters watching here, games in the 80s had no end. You just basically played them until you got tired of playing them. A lot of these games were built on the idea of you bettering your last go-through. So you didn't play so much to beat the game as much as to get what is the absolute highest score you can get. And for the creators, you know, it's like their whole thing was like, what is a game that can keep people coming back for more and not get boring or repetitive? Whether it was having a novel idea or engaging gameplay or ideally both, you know, that was... You had to have players coming back for more and more and more. So we just got an extra life. I'm going to loop back into the... I was going to loop back into the drain, but... No, it's going to be a bit... darn it. Be a bit tricky. I'm not going to attempt fade. I'm just going to get down here. Sink 9. This is always a weird sink. Because there's nothing in it. Everything just comes out of the drain. And then there's a lot in it. See, the challenge here is scarcity and reflex in that level. Because there's not a lot of stuff for you to power up on. But you have to avoid the enemies, too. Ooh, darn it. Trying to maneuver away. Game over. Let's try this again. Ooh. Oh, what? I was down the drain. You're totally putting our initials in there. Alright. Some good stuff. We'll do one round of Sinistar. No, this is Robotron. Exit. Robotron is also very good. Robotron's weird, though, because it's got its own highly unique control scheme here. I'm going to actually move this camera in a bit to try to accommodate the glare that's almost certainly going to happen playing this these older games. It's not too bad. So basically what you gotta do with Sinistar here is shoot these meteors, power your ship up with the rocks that come out of them, and then, while you're doing that, don't get killed. The fact is, though, at a certain point, these rocks are going to be utilized to construct the talking space skull Sinistar, who is a fearsome foe. And you gotta shoot all of the little moon rocks that you get out of these asteroids at him, and just have enough to, get him down without actually getting eaten by him. And this is also one of the first games with sound, where you have like legible human audio. So good stuff on this game. Fast gameplay. It starts getting really hard though after the first couple levels. Okay, so there he is. So we're just gonna dump our... We beat him. Yeah, when he gets around there, the key is just stock up and unload. The chilling space opera that is Sinistar. That is what we are playing here. One of the new games I'm getting on the Shonen Jump Famicom is Gilligan's Island. It is a very real thing that's happening, and you should tune in to see me play that. The millionaire and his wife, the movie star, the professor and Mary Ann, all on Gilligan's Isle. See, now I'm in some trouble here, because I don't have enough to put a real dent into him. Been more talking about TV reruns and trying to dodge bullets here. Now, there is a glitch in this game that I can't get to work where if you somehow get it so that Sinistar gets destroyed while you're in his mouth, it will give you a ton of lives. It's extremely hard to do, but expert players know how to do it. Expert players also don't do that. Man, there's not enough meteors in these asteroids here. Ah. Yeah, looks like I got one chip left here. We had such a good run earlier that we're got some cushion here. Darn it! This is bad. This is bad, bad, bad. Darn it, man. I was trying to get some stuff out of there. Ah, well, whatever. Alright. So there we have it, guys. That is Sinistar. We had a nice sample of some of my favorite Sega Saturn games from 1996. And, hopefully you enjoyed that, even though the last group of Saturn games from 1996 were actually games from the early 80s on a CD from 1996 with cool creator interviews. So, yeah, it's a little after 12, so you should all get some sleep. We're not streaming quite as late as we do sometimes. Sometimes we stream and it's like after 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, son of a gun, we gotta go to bed. But I will be streaming in the next couple days, so keep an eye out. We don't stream tomorrow, we'll stream on Thursday. And we'll probably be streaming the Gold Shonen Jump Famicom Mini in its new and improved form thanks to Retro Zoltan. So yes, good night, Rogue Drums. Hope all is well. I'll see you in the near future. And for the rest of the viewers, I thank you for your friendship and viewership and interest in the quality content of the Noel ComiX YouTube channel. You rest too, Arrow. Thanks again for watching. Good stuff. I definitely appreciate your input and your insights. You know, a little bit less of a intense stream, a little bit more laid back. You know, fewer games, more complaining about the horrendous coffee that I made that I'm still not taking full responsibility for. That can't possibly all be my fault. The downside to it is I pretty much ate that bag of M&Ms. So just to try to get the taste of it out of my mouth. So I'm going to have to, you know, I'll hit the gym a little extra hard tomorrow. And, you know, I definitely got to be working on my manga contest as well. Because deadline for that is, it's about a month away. But I'm on a pretty good pace. I'm trying to do a page or two a day. Today I was doing a lot of storyboarding for coming pages. So cool. Great. So take care, everybody. And we'll see you in the very near future. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.